hope the fan is not. Eunice, how is it going? Thank you for the gift. Thank you for the gift. Sheriff, good evening. Maureen, good evening. Empress Rookie. Very well, thank you, Eunice. Madam Grace, good evening. Well done, ma. Asana, Kafi, Sasu Photography, Winferu, Owums Arts, GG7, I salute you, my brother. Priestess, thank you for the gift. Priestess, thank you for the gift. Ambassador, I salute you. Odomena Foundation. Oh, how do they greet? How do they say good evening in Ghana? Saucy Loaded, good evening. Omola, good evening. I salute you, my brother from Ghana. We're coming to Ghana later in the year, definitely. I'm looking forward to that Ghana trip. I've been telling everybody about it. Tessie Naya, good evening. Jib 23 from Liberia. What's up, Liberia? Liberia, what's up? Sekinat, good evening. Firum, Cosmos, I salute you. Unstoppable, good evening. Dear Connie Olaoluwa, good evening. Wawa, I salute your divinity. Rookie, I salute your divinity. Lady Chi, thank you for sharing the live. AY, good evening. Owums Arts, thank you for the gift. Thank you. Caesar, good evening and thank you. Priestess T, good evening. Empress Rookie, good evening. Maiba, good evening. Thank you so much, Tessie. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching and sharing. A Consultant Tech, good evening. Immaculate, brother, I salute you. True Nature, Gentle Lucifer, I like that name. Lucifer, God of the morning. Immaculate Grand Rising. Ambassador, thank you for sharing this live. AY, good evening. Empress Rookie, thank you for sharing the live. Tate 247, thank you. A3 Consultant Tech, thank you. Lady Chi, thank you. Guys, go follow Shewa Ambassador Coach. Lady Chi, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Olabowale Omolade, thank you for sharing the live. Bambillionsly, good evening. Irable Gift, thank you. I just want to make sure I salute everybody before we start. I actually didn't plan to come on live today, but I said to myself, I'm not doing anything, you know. I've accomplished my task for today. So like there are some thoughts on my mind, you know, maybe one or two persons. This is the night where they will catch something and that they can use it and apply it, and they will start, it will become more or less like the ignition that they need. Rose Black, good evening. Olatiwalade, thank you, bro. Thank you so much. Firom, oh, thank you for tagging your friend. Althea Chiwon, good evening. SEG, Oga Hans, I salute you. Tate, thank you for sharing the live. Thank you for sharing the live. Thank you for the gift, Eminence. Oluwaseun, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Iwanga Joro, good evening. Priestess, thank you for the gift. Oluwaseun, thank you for the gift. Thank you so much, Oga. It's good to see you too. Rose Black, thank you for sharing. Thank you for the gift. I salute Lady Chi. Thank you very much. Thank you, Lady Chi. Thank you so much. You know, personally, I believe that no matter what I'm sharing, if people are not listening to me, then it's not. So it's more or less like as I share, I am also growing, even as those who are listening to me are growing. Right. So thank you. Can you speak about someone who has a low self-esteem, please? Yes, I'm going to address that tonight because what we're talking about tonight is your inner child, a realm of possibilities and abundance. Your inner child is a realm. Your inner child is a realm of possibilities and abundance. Thank you so much, guys. So let's start now because I want to make sure that this is not more than 1 hour because tomorrow is a working day for people. So I want to make sure. Good evening, Oro Ward. Between now and 8 o'clock, we're done. Lady Chi, thank you for the gift. Now, before we start, I want you to go back in time and ask yourself some very important questions. And you know, it's very possible to actually literally go back in time and ask yourself important questions about your life. Guys, it's very possible. It's very possible. Run a personal assessment and inventory of your life. It's very possible. Greetings. There is a terminology um, is in the Theosophical Society called the Akashic Record. It is a compendium of past, present event experiences, thoughts, words at the macro and at the micro level. So what that means is that there is a record in you. Queen Sav, good evening. There is a record in you that holds every of the events and the thoughts, past, present, and future. And this is why it is very important for you, it is very possible rather for you to go back in time and ask yourself some very important questions. You know, oftentimes we are interested in the macrocosmic history of the world and the universe. We neglect the microcosmic history, like your own history as a person, individualized history. So it is important to actually learn your own the history of your life, the trajectory of your life, the story of your life, particularly your childhood. And that's where I want to take us back to. Your childhood. What were the events that surrounded your childhood? What were the activities? How was it like? What happened? I made a tweet today and I'm going to read it. I'm giving you a tip of the iceberg. Some of the things I'm going to share, I'm going to be sharing at the 18 days manifestation marathon. Because one way, one way to manifest your desires and reach the height and apex of your authenticity is to tap into your inner child. To tap into your inner child. You know, in numerology, we have something called the personality number, which is calculated. Yes, you need money to register for the marathon. Click the link in the bio, which is calculated with the consonants in your name. You know, your soul urge number is calculated with the vowels in your name. Then your personality number is calculated using the consonants in your name. And what a lot of people don't know is that personality number is one of the most important numbers you must know, because it helps you to know your persona, right? Your persona, your mask. Bonjour. Your mask, in the sense that when people meet you, the first thing they see, the first thing they feel, the first thing they sense is your aura, your personality. That's how important personality number is. Now, knowing your personality number, one of the things it does for you is that it becomes the key with which you open different gates and you unlock access to different people and places. Because your life path number, people hardly see you and know your life path number. People hardly see you and know your soul urge number. Those are quite, innate to you. But when people meet you, the first thing they can tell is the kind of personality that you carry, the aura that you carry as a person. Right? The aura that you carry. And Carl Jung talked about the 4 personality archetypes. And the first thing on that list is the persona. Is a persona. And then the second one on that list is your inner child, right? Your inner child. Now, I made a tweet today. I'm going to read the tweet to you. It says, we all incarnated or reincarnated with data and information in our souls, needed to lead an authentic life. So you came here as a child, you came to this world with data and information that you need to lead an authentic life. That's what you came here with. And as a child, one of the reasons why you need to tap into your inner child is because when you were born, and we don't need any empirical proof for this. It's obvious. When you were born, your default was abundance and possibilities. When you were born, there was no such thing as impossibility. When you were born, it was effortless manifestation. You needed to grow. Your mother provided breast milk. That's it. You didn't beg for it. So to you, when you were born, your inner child knew that everything you needed was going to be provided for you. When you put a child on a 24-story building, that child can decide to fly. As a parent, you control that child so they don't, harm themselves. But a child believes that they can fly. We have seen children that were put, on that kind of high level, story building, and they wanted to fly. Because as a child, the only thing you had in you was innocence. You were just, there is a video of a young kid who is just 4 years old. A bird I don't know if you have seen that video. This is a true life story. A big bird comes to play with that boy, a very big bird, and the boy pets the bird. Is always and the bird enters the house through the window, stays with the boy when the boy is eating. This is a real, true life story right now. The video is on the internet. You can watch it. Imagine imagine a boy playing with a bird. The boy is riding his bicycle and the bird is following the boy. A bird. Birds don't just play with people, they run away because they are afraid that you might cage them or this. But the bird plays with the boy. The bird has become the boy's pet. So now imagine if that boy is introduced to some superstitious belief system. Something in him is going to die. Now, for a lot of us, many of the things we came to this world with, which are meant to be our asset, our leverage, our resources, that we need to evolve, grow, and lead an authentic life, they have been deleted. Yeah, they've been cancelled. Sometimes by parents, culture, religion, society. But can I tell you what? Before I continue, the truth of the matter is nothing is actually deleted. Every file and data, they still exist in this field. They exist. Nothing is deleted. This is why, some of these security agencies, they can dig out every of the chats that you have had, even though you deleted them. They can fish out your phone conversations, your voice notes. If you think you have deleted them, but they still exist in the hard drive. In the super hard drive, they exist. So the hope that we have is, even though suppressed with doctrines, exactly, even though a lot of these things were suppressed, dismissed, cancelled by parents, by religion, by doctrines, by dogma, by society, they still exist in your Akashic record. And that's why you can always go back to them and restore them. If you want to tap into that realm again, even but if you want to tap into that realm again, you must restore your inner child. You must restore your inner child. Now, Jesus said something. This is very, very powerful. A lot of people, they interpret things from, everything is seen from the religious perspective. And he was quoting the Emerald of Thoughts. He was quoting another book that existed before him. I'm talking about the historical Jesus now. This is not fables, right? He said, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. That's what he said. Unless you change your mind, unless you repent. Repent is to change your mind. Unless you change your mind, you will never and become like little children. So he is inviting you to your inner child, that place where your divine center is the headquarters of every operation. The operating system of your life as a child was your divine center. The only thing that exists in your divine center are possibilities and abundance. There was no limitations. Fear, doubt, limitation, all these things were introduced to you. You were told that it is impossible for you to do something. There are a lot of people, if not everybody, at age 5, you were dreaming. Children dream a lot. See, I'm telling you what I did to myself to recollect and restore some of my childhood dreams. And I did it. It was an exercise I engaged in, went down into the reservoir of my soul, and I tapped into those data and information. Because no matter how life, parenting, and all those things, no matter how they dealt with those things and dismissed them, I still have them in my Akashic record. When I was very, very young, 5 years old, 6 years. The only dream I had was I would just see myself flying in planes, traveling in planes, and going to speak to thousands of people. That was my dream. I was always having this recurrent dream. But when life happened, when dogma took place, I forgot about it. So it became more or less like the secondary passion. Now, for a lot of us, what is meant to be the major pursuit in your life, you have made it the minor pursuit. So now you major on the minor and you minor on the major. Right? But the key to know what you are meant to major on is in tapping into your inner child. The fulfillment is there. Now, there are many people. Let me quickly say something. There is a story of a coach. I'm trying to remember the movie now. I think it's the movie where there was a quote that says, our greatest fear is not our light, it's not darkness. Our greatest fear is our light. We are afraid that if we shine our light, other people will feel uncomfortable. So this coach had a dream, a childhood dream, to become a great basketballer. Because for some people, the way you are going to tap into your inner child and your childhood dreams is to invest it in the younger generation. Right? To invest it in the younger generation. So that was what this coach did. I'm trying to make sure I touch on everything so that I don't leave any loophole. So this coach did not succeed in becoming a great basketballer. So he went into coaching. So he started coaching boys in the hood, and he made great basketballers out of them. So for people who think it's too late for me, you still have this capacity, because listen, it is inherent. It is inherent. Your childhood possibilities and abundance, they are inherent. You came here with them. So you can always tap into them. As a child, your default was abundance and possibilities. That's it. Your default was abundance and possibilities until parents happened. Now, particularly in this part of the world, there's a way we raise children. That's why it is called formative years. Formative years. So something was formatted. When you buy a hard disk, they ask you to format it before you use it. Because you have to format it first before you can start loading new files into it. So for a lot of us, we came here with data, information of endless possibilities. You believed you could fly. You believed nothing was impossible to you. You believe there are no limits to the things that you can do. But that station of your life was formatted through parenting. It was formatted through dogma, doctrines. And then negative programming language were installed into you. So now you are thinking about your dream. Now you no longer believe in your childhood dreams. The same dreams you believed were possible when you were 6 years old. The same rain that you run into and you dance in the rain as a child. Now you run away from the rain. When I see people when rain wants to fall, the way they run, like rain is going to kill them. Because we have been injected, fear, doubt, limitation has been installed into our consciousness. That's what has happened to us. But the abundance, guys, the possibilities, that's where they are. That's the citadel of the possibilities. That place where it says, except you repent, you change your mind, and you become like little children, you will never enter into the kingdom of heaven. Now, what is that kingdom of heaven? It is not a place in the sky. The kingdom of heaven is because heaven, etymology now, heaven is expansion, a place of limitless possibilities. Heaven means infiniteness. That's heaven, infiniteness. You can't see the end, you can't see the beginning. Fibonacci sequence. Remember the Fibonacci sequence? Every number is an addition of the previous numbers, right? 1 plus 2 is 3. 2 plus, no, it begins with 2 plus 3 is 5. And 2, I'm trying to remember how they do now, but that if you understand the Fibonacci sequence, you understand that everything that happens is in sequence. Everything is in sequence. So everything you see in your life is in sequential order based on the programming language that was installed into you at birth. And the reason many of us are struggling now is because of our upbringing, the kind of parents that raised us, the kind of environment we grew up in. And the major catastrophe in this is the fact that your dreams, you were stripped of your childhood dreams. You were stripped. Not just that you were stripped of your childhood dreams, something else was given to you. They took your ingenuity and gave you second-class mediocre ideas of who you can be. No, you can't be this. This is what you can be. You can't be this one. You can be this. And this is the origin of the shadow self, guys. This is the origin. See, when your inner child is stolen from you, yeah, it will be impossible for you to explore your divine self. You have to be childlike to explore your divine self, because your inner child does not entertain limitation. No, it doesn't. Your inner child does not know fear. It doesn't. Put a baby beside a lion. The baby is just there looking at the lion. Because the only thing your inner child knows is endless possibilities. And the only way to tap into your divine self is to awaken your inner child. And this is why you see a lot of people, you take life too seriously. Everything is just serious, because you are running away from your shadow. And that's why many people, they don't want to show any form of vulnerability. And that is the shadow self. When you lose your inner child, you deactivate your divine self, and then you begin to run away from your shadow when you are meant to embrace it. You're meant to embrace it. And the possibilities, the endless possibilities, the abundance, everything you need is in the spectrum of that inner child. The place of innocence, the place of divinity. That's where it is. When you were a child, you didn't believe anybody can harm you. I am not saying this from the perspective of gullibility. I'm saying it from the perspective of knowing that the confidence that you are here as a divine entity, and for you to tap into that endless possibilities, you cannot entertain any low vibrational, frequency. It can't work like that. It can't work like that. So it is important for us to start restoring and reawakening our inner child. That is the place of endless possibilities, guys. I practiced it, and I saw it for days. Listen, when you start practicing this, people ask sometimes, how do I do this? How do I do that? The whole work is in your hand. I am only going to help you ignite that process. Because when you begin the journey of going back into your Akashic record and tapping into your inner child, a lot of things are going to happen. Yes, I know. TikTok, they do that a lot. That's why I was careful not to mention it. I've mentioned it before, and they did the same thing. When you tap into it, right? One of the things that happens to you, I remember when I was tapping into my inner child, and I was just crying one night. I was shedding tears like a baby. I was just in the corner of the room somewhere. I was just crying. I was just tearing up. Because, see, let me tell you, the process of healing, one of the elements of the process of healing, of the journey of healing, is pain. So this is not for the faint-hearted. So don't think you want to tap into your inner child and then it's going to be all rosy roses. No. There is going to be pain. I was in the corner of the room and I was crying like a child. Grown man crying like a child. It happened to me twice. First time I was when I was studying in Dubai. Second time when I was back in Nigeria. I was just alone. I was just crying. I went back in time. I pictured my father, my mother. See, you have no idea the power of your brain wave, the efficacy of what your brain can do, the significance of your brain in tapping into your divine self. You have no idea. They say when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. When I was ready, because listen, many times people ask this question, how do I? Until you are ready, you won't know how do I. You won't get it. Why? The real power is in your why. So the reason you are not getting insights is because your why is not strong enough. Until your why is strong enough, you won't have any power. Because the main power is in the why. My why was very, very strong because I wanted to know existential crisis. Now, there are many people right now, what you are going through is an existential crisis. What is my life about? Where was I 4,000 years ago? Have you asked yourself that kind of question? That period of my life between 2017 and 2020, I was asking myself questions, very weird questions, like, okay, where was I 5,000 years ago? Where will I be 5,000 years from now? Nobody can answer that question. You are the only one who can answer that question because the answer is in you. And as I activated and kicked off that journey, let me tell you what happens to you. You journey into yourself. That you are not journeying into any institution outside you. No. You are going to journey into yourself. That's it. You're going to journey. And can I tell you the truth, brothers and sisters? If you want to go on this journey of reconnecting with your inner child, you're going to open up a lot of wounds. I hope you know that. The reason many people are running from their shadow is because they don't want to open up wounds. And for you to heal any wound, you have to open it up. How do they treat wounds? They clean it. The cleaning process of a wound is very hurtful, right? Because it has to bleed. A wound that is covered is a wound that will never be healed. So the wound must first be opened up, cleansed. It must bleed. You must bleed out. I don't know how many people, how many of you have tried this mushroom exercise. The strongest mushroom exercise you can do is in South Africa. Mushroom exercise, one of the things that help you go back in time to your Akashic record is that mushroom exercise, where you eat mushroom. Thank you so much, Maureen. But that's, you necessarily don't have to do that. You can do that without using any element. Just that your soul, you are ready. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Raw mushroom. But this is not an exercise you do alone. It's a group of people. You go on excursion, tourism, spiritual awakening. You go to all these Himalayan mountain, all this South African, therapeutic retreat. That's where they do things like this. It's not something you just do in your room by yourself, no. Because it can take you to different realms. Camping and all that. I'm trying to see if I can organize one in Nigeria and bring some of my friends who we have engaged in that together. Immaculate, fantastic. Salvia Divinorum. See, let me tell you something. The question that you are asking, the answer is in you. What religion doesn't want to tell you is that the answer is in you. Because if you figure that the answer is in you, what happens is you will journey into self. You will journey into yourself. So a true transformational leader, his goal is to lead you to yourself, not to him. Because even if he's raising the dead, he cannot answer the deep questions of your soul. He can't. Nobody can answer the deep questions in your soul. The answers are in you. And when you go back in time, it opens up old wounds. So if you are not ready, there are people who were violated when they were young. If you want to tap back into your inner child, you must go back to that wound. You must go back there, because the life that many of us are living right now, they are the products of our formative years. Formative years. They formatted the station of our soul, and then they installed negative programming languages through actions, through words, right? Many people were raised in very verbally abusive environments. Many people were physically violated. Many people were violated by the same men who were meant to protect them from being violated. That's the worst that can happen to anybody. And there are a lot of women who they were violated by the same men who were meant to protect them. Are you ready to go back into that wound? Are you ready to go back into that wound? Because if you're not ready, then this is not for you. And for you to ascend into your most authentic self, you must tap into that realm, because that is a realm of endless possibilities. Endless possibilities. Because if we don't do that, see, I love Carl Jung a lot. He said a lot of amazing things. He said, one of the things he said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life, and you will call it fate. And someone write that. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will dictate the event and the result in your life, and you will call it fate. And it is the unconscious. Now, there are many things that happened during your formative years. They are in your unconscious station, and they are ruling your life, and you are calling it destiny. That's how God wants it. It is the will of God. No, you have not been able to go back in time and bring that unconscious into consciousness. Because that's exactly what I do. It will rule your life, and you will call it fate. It will dictate your life, and you will call it fate. I remember back then, I was studying in Dubai, and then I felt this loneliness. It was when I just got there, and then after 3 months, a lot of things were happening, and there was no. I just felt this loneliness, like I had nobody, and I was just in that room, just crying. I was just, because I was ready. It was the period I was asking questions. Why am I here? What is my life about? Even Elon Musk went through this process of existential crisis, where he had to deal with tapping into his inner child. And I was tearing up and I was crying. And that was the beginning of the process of me tapping into my inner child. And when I came back to Nigeria in 2020 during COVID, a lot of mess were happening. And I remember that night, I can't forget that night, that I tapped into it again, and I was just crying like a child. And I was holding myself and crying. And the word that came out of my mouth was daddy. I was just saying daddy. I was just crying, daddy, daddy. I was just crying, daddy. And the more I did that, the more I tapped into the trauma, the pain, the wound, the dysfunctions of my childhood, the verbal assault. I reopened the wounds. I reopened the wounds. That's exactly what I did that night. And that was a process that began healing for me. One of the things that I started writing, my experience down, and I wrote my experience, that period down somewhere in my laptop. One of the things I wrote was, if I live an unexamined life, I will become the father I detest. I will become everything I detest in my father. I said, if I live an unexamined life, I will become everything I detest and I don't like in my father, because I figured that I had daddy issues. A lot of people don't want to admit that they have traumatic parenting issues. They are not ready. Thank you, Fab. They are not ready to go and connect back into that pain and that wound. It requires courage. Thank you, Rosie Black. And I started writing stuff down about it. And this is the reason why I'm very particular about raising responsible men, not just good men who will be great husbands and great fathers to their children. Because it's possible for a man to be a good man and be a bad father and a bad husband. I hope you know that. Everything is built on the pyramid. It's a triune thing. Everything is a trinity, right? In most cases, you have to be three things. You have to be good in three things. Thoughts, right? Which is from the mind. And then, what's the next one now? You think, and then action. There's a middle one, action. Everything is the law of the Trinity. So, as a man, you must be a good man, a good father, a good husband. As a woman, you must be a good woman, a good wife, a good mother. Until you are able to succeed in these three areas in your pyramid, you have failed. And the moment I was able to deal with that traumatic, dysfunctional pain and the wound and the daddy issues, I began to see results. So since that time in my life, the system and this pattern of you are up now, after 1 year, 2 years, you go down again. Then after 1 year, you come back up again. That was the end. See, the reason many people are not economically stable, you think that, oh, it's because something happened to you. It is deeply rooted in your wounded childhood. Your childhood was wounded, was abused, was violated. But the truth of the matter is, there is that, and that is the imposter version. There is that authentic inner child that is connected to your divine self, that is just there, waiting for the day you are going to decide to be courageous enough to heal from those wounds. Is waiting for that day to heal from those. You've heard about quantum jumping. I got a course. It's called quantum jumping. I think when I got this course, it was like $600 or so. I think it's cheaper than that now. And the man that created this program, quantum jumping, in his 80s, because the idea of quantum jumping is, it states that there are alternate versions of you that exist in alternate universes. Yeah, there is quantum leap, but there's also quantum jump. There are alternate versions of you that exist in alternate universes. In one universe, and there are people who have done this exercise and activity, and they have alter traveled, right, to different places, because your soul does not know boundaries and limitations. Yeah. Our ancestors, they understood the whole idea of the triune state of the human institution. That's why they could be present here and there at the same, present in the body, and then their soul is somewhere else, carrying out an activity. Do you know that the CIA, the MI5, all this, they're already using this as a technology? Many of the technologies that exist currently that we are hijacked from our ancestors, they have developed them and they use them. Astral projection is a part of the CIA classified program. I hope you know that. So quantum jumping states that there are alternate versions of you. Remote viewing, yes, that exist in alternate universes. And this man in his 80s started traveling into these alternate universes. And in his 80s, he became a painter. Some of his artworks right now, they are being sold for thousands of dollars. The artworks he did when he's in his 80s. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. He became a pianist in his 80s because in one universe is a musician, another universe is a painter, another universe is a successful entrepreneur. Because listen, guys, you are in the universe and the universe is in you. The universe is holographic in nature. So you are in the universe and the universe is in you. But for you to connect and tap into that institution, into that universe, you must first go back in time to the dysfunctionalities and the abuse and the corruption that took place in your formative years. Format it. They formatted that station that you came with. That station, that universe you came with, because you came here to walk. You actually, because listen, see, you fought to get here. Then when you got here, you stopped fighting. Because you were told to turn the other cheek. You were told that there are some things you cannot do. You were told that if you do this, there are consequences. Yeah, fine. You were told that the power is outside you, not inside you. One of the biggest poisons that has been sold to people is the fact that they have to believe in something outside them, that the power is outside them. They have to go to a place to tap into power. They have to do the power is in you. You are an institution. Exactly. You in the verse is your university. University is you go to university to study a course, right? Now, you are a universe. The universe is in you. So you are meant to study every facet and dimensions of your life. And there is so much to you to know, but it can begin from you going back to your childhood. Have you sat down to ask yourself how you were raised? What were the things that happened when you were a child? There are a lot of people right now. They were violated when they were very young as a child, and they act like it no longer matters. They deny that pain and that wound, that traumatic childhood experience. They don't want to think about it. They don't want to talk about it. But that is influencing a lot of your behavioral patterns. I hope you know. And it hinders us from becoming the best and authentic versions of ourselves. Yes. Because see, what happens is in all the other areas of your life, you notice you're not stable. Things are just awkward. It is because the foundation is not right. Something is wrong. But there is that the source, which is divine, which cannot be damaged, which is your inner child that you are now meant to tap into and connect, so you can quantum jump and then be able to interpret and express this authenticity in your life. Because that is the realm of possibilities and no limitation. Now, the kingdom here, like I said, it says, until you become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven is a kingdom of expansion. Listen, it is not a place in the sky, it is a place in your heart. I hope you know that it is a place in your heart. Now, there are realms. When it comes to the multiverse, there are realms. Nobody is denying that. But in this context, the kingdom of heaven here is referring to the kingdom of expansion in your heart. Eternity is in your heart. The universe is in your heart. Sacred geometry, when you study Fibonacci sacred geometry, when they took a microscopic picture of some of the cosmic elements, they discovered that many of them, the same shape that they have, also exist in you as the organs in your body. As the organs in your body. The kingdom of heaven is in you. But that kingdom of heaven can only be tapped into when you connect back to your divine center. Somebody is asking. Thank you. The law of correspondence, as above, so below. I don't want to spill all the beans. I'm giving you tips of some of the things I'm going to share. Because see, until you are able to understand these hermetic principles, manifestation will be very difficult. The imposter self has taken over a lot of us. This is why it's hard for people to manifest. There is the pain and the wound in one side. There are the disappointment and the betrayal and violation somewhere else. So all these things put together, they are hindering you from manifesting your authentic self. Self-sabotage, thank you. So there is no healing. There are many wounded people right now who have refused to admit that there is a place in them that they need to heal. Defensive, negative, fearful. When you see the way some people relate with other people, you will just know that this person went through a very traumatic upbringing, traumatic childhood, where they react to everything. They don't respond to anything. So the only way to heal from that is to go back to that childhood and tap into the divine self. Insecurity. I remember, my father is a good man, but my father is not the best of fathers, actually. See, a real man is not afraid to share his story. It is all this alpha male wannabe that when a man comes out and says something about his father, they start saying, how can you talk about your father like that? No. A real man can share his story. It's a fact. A real man who is healed and who is healing can share his story. And one of the things I discovered was that my father, there were too many verbal abuse. And it was reflecting in my life. So with all the giftings and the talent, I figured that people were always attacking me with words. But because my father said worse things to me, I did not pay attention to what they were saying, right? But I now became more like a wounded soldier. I was living my life like sticks and stones can't do nothing to me. But you are a human being. Until I realized that I need to heal from that father wound. See, there is a wound, especially the worst wound any child can have is the father wound. Because most times the father wound is hardly talked about, and that is why it is hardly healed. The worst wound, when I see a woman, I can tell if she has a daddy issue or not. When I see a man, I can tell if he has a daddy issue or not. The mother wound is also very, very critical and very damaging. But for a man, when you are wounded by your father, what happens to you is it is almost impossible for you to be a good man to any woman. Almost impossible. And then we have many people, they are carrying that wound with them. And they take that wound with them into their marriage. And then they take it into raising children. And they transfer that wound to their child. And then the son transfers the wound to the other person. And then you are bleeding, literally bleeding inside. And what about the mother wound? I have seen women who, they said their mother literally hates them. It was very hard for me to believe, but I've seen a lot of people who showed me proofs that my mother actually doesn't want me to succeed. We have heard people say their mother is competing with them. Now, when I tell my mother something good, that my mother has told me that when I was your age, I was more beautiful than you. When I was more beautiful than you at your age. You think you are beautiful. Yeah. Crazy things are happening, actually. Crazy things are happening. Remember when I went for my master's and I came back and I had a lot of issues. Something I paid with my money by myself. And one of the things my father said was, Uncle could travel or law school or they could fish. and he was saying it to someone else. You know, telling someone else that with my money that I used, not you are not the one that paid my school fees. You were telling someone else that with all the traveling abroad to go and school, they came back nothing. When he was in Nigeria, he had a lot of money. He was wasting it. See what is happening to him now. Imagine your father making such statements. But what I did was I took all those things. I reopened the wound. I reopened all those wounds. And I was ready to treat the wounds. I cleaned them. See, when you want to heal your wound, you can't put a bandage on it. You have to open it and get some of the, all this liquid, all this ventilated liquid, and be washing that wound. Many people now, you need to start that process. You need to start washing off the layers of that wound. When you start washing off the layers of that wound, you will start bleeding again. You start bleeding again. So you have to. I am not the one that will tell you the root of your problem. You are the one that will discover it by yourself. And you start by intentionally and consciously going back to your childhood. You can do it. Yeah, thank you. Why it fits me? I'm from the Obatala ancestry. So whenever I wear white, people are always talking about it too. You must decide that I am ready to go on this journey. You can do it as a mother, as a single. See, if you are single, this is the best time for you to do it. Someone told me that her father violated her. So, guys, the man so the man, the only man, the first man that is meant to protect his child, his daughter, was the one that violated her. And then that violated her. And then she is grown, married, with children. And she has never revisited that wound. And then there is so much confusion. And had to deliver 4 children under CS operation, battling fibroid. Listen, many of the things that you are going through right now, they can be traced. They can literally be traced to your upbringing, to your formative years. So if there is anything anyone can do, it is to go back. See, brothers and sisters, denying it will not fix it. Confronting it is what will fix it. Because this is your shadow. One of the things you can't run away from is your shadow. You can't run away from your shadow self. It keeps chasing you. Because of what I do, I hear something sometimes, and I'm sorry to use the word. Sometimes I hear some things, and after the phone call, I go into depression for like 3 hours. I break down for like 3 hours. When I hear some stories, And this is the root of a lot of struggles that we have. This is the root of the struggles that many of us have because we have refused to confront this shadow self. We have refused to go back in time and stop denying it. Silence won't chase it away. Denying it will not fix it. You must reopen that wound. You must clean it. Before you apply medication to a wound, if you want that wound to heal, you must wash it. The washing and the cleaning process, there is no way you will not remember your childhood because you are a human being, you have a soul, you have a memory bank, you will remember your childhood. So there is no excuse. Now, there is nothing like can't. What if you can't? These are the programming languages that they installed in your station. You will remember the key things that happened when you were a child. You will remember. There is no way you won't remember. And for many people, that's where your deliverance is. This is the real deliverance now. You always remember your childhood. I can tell you many of the things that happened when I was 7, 8, 9 years old. I can tell you. It begins with that. It begins with that being intentional, consciously telling yourself, I am ready to connect back to my childhood. I am ready. I'll tell you, thank you for mentioning that word, Nancy, dissociation. A lot of women in marriage or men, they are withdrawn. They are easily withdrawn from their partner. Many of the struggles that you have right now in your economy, in your relationship, your marriage, they are traceable to your childhood. I hope you know that. This is why I always say that many times, many people, there is a generation that needed mental therapy, but that generation chose marriage. There is a generation that needed therapy, healing. That generation chose marriage. So what happened is they came together. Two broken, traumatized people came together and they produced children. And the children are meant they continue that cycle, that vicious cycle of dysfunction and trauma, and they pass it on. Like Madame Grace said, it is transgenerational. So they are transferring it from one generation to another because nobody wants to take cognizance and have enough courage to say, no, I have to look at this thing. Two halves don't make a whole after all. Thank you for that. There is a generation that needed mental therapy, they needed healing, but that generation chose marriage. As much as marriage is beautiful, there are some things that needs to be done before you go into it. If not, you are going to, the kind of thing, the way you are, what you are going to become in your marriage, you will look in the mirror and you won't believe it. You will look in the mirror and you won't believe that you can build. See, one of the things marriage does, marriage magnifies your childhood trauma. It is in marriage that your childhood trauma comes back. Marriage hypes your childhood trauma and dysfunctionalities. That's what marriage does. That's why marriage is not something. Marriage is not something that you just jump into. It's not something you just jump into. These things must be dealt with. See, you are meant to go into marriage with your divine center activated. Now, there are many people right now, the only thing left in you is vengeance. There are many people going into marriage right now, going into business partnership. The only thing they are taking into that partnership is vengeance because they have been shattered and battered, damaged and broken and abused by a lot of people. Their innocence, they have been stripped of their innocence. So the only thing they have left is vengeance. Thank you, she is her. The only thing they have left is vengeance. So when they go into that marriage, everything is misinterpreted as, oh, he's trying to get me. Okay, I will get him too. Oh, he's trying. So there is no such thing as purity. Nothing is interpreted as, oh, let me cut him some slack. No, because nothing left. The innocence they've been stripped of their innocence. They've been stripped of their innocence. And they have refused to go and tap into their inner child and heal the wound. Because in that station, there is healing, there is abundance, there are possibilities. So the first step is to admit that you are ready. You are ready to be healed. And then the moment you declare that you are ready to be healed, you intentionally tap into your Akashic record, the record of your past thoughts, events, actions, and then you are able to go into your childhood and start. See, you will start getting downloads. You started getting downloads. This thing happens also time. I have run this for a lot of people, and I know what I'm telling you. We have traced someone's childhood back, yeah, to when their brother tried to violate them. Their own brother tried, and she literally had forgotten. But the fact that you have forgotten doesn't mean it is not a data in your consciousness. It is there, and it can influence your behavior. Every behavioral pattern you are showing, they are products of your programming language, of the operating system in you. That's it. It's there. You think it's not there, it's there. It is when something happens, it triggers that in you, it triggers it. I remember this thing happened to me. Then another 6 months of depression, of whatever begins. You always recall, exactly. You always recall. So, see, the solution is to declare that you are ready to be healed. Because until you make yourself available for that divine surgical operation, and listen, sometimes it's very lonely. It's a very solitary journey. When I was going through mine, it was a very solitary journey. I was alone. I remember I had a cousin. He's late now, Benga. We were the closest. Myself and we were like best friends. I can't even tell you the things that his mother said to him. So now we were trauma bonding. Me and my cousin were trauma bonding, right? I used to go to their house on holiday. There were times his mother told him that he's going to die young. His mother told him, and he finally died young. I'm telling you about my cousin. He's my brother's namesake. So I can't tell you the things that I heard his mother told him because of disagreements, the kind of curses that his mother rained on him. So myself and him, we shared the same experience as during our childhood. So we were very close. We used to trauma bond a lot. During this process of me tapping into my childhood and, activating my healing, because for years, I never accepted that my cousin was dead. I never accepted it that Benga was dead. So every of his birthday, I will go to his Facebook page. I will check everything. Did he post anything? I am telling you, my freedom from Benga happened in 2020. That was when I let go. He literally was, not literally, he used to come and visit me and tell me I should let him go. And I'll tell him, no, I don't believe that you are dead. Because we were trauma bonding. Now, there are many people. The reason you married the person you marry is because they reflect your trauma. They reflect your trauma. So you are marrying someone who looks like your trauma. So it's a trauma bond, not a relationship. Not a relationship. Except both of you have reached that apex of maturity of we can be healed together. And it's always hard for two people who have a traumatic upbringing to now heal. They will wreak more havoc on themselves. That's what happens. One of the things that happened to me then was, I remember one of those days it was Benga's birthday. So I went back to his Facebook again and I was just crying. Like, I can't believe this guy is dead. I can't believe he's dead. And then I was watching a YouTube video of a young boy who remembered his past life. You can go check it. There are proofs everywhere. See, let me tell you something. Science has limitations. Everything science is boasting of now never existed 200 years ago. And it does not mean that those things did not exist in the ethers. It was just that nobody was able to translate them into the physical realm. So there are many things that exist right now that only your soul can interpret it. The universe is very deeply spiritual. It's very spiritual. So science, so people, when we say things like they say, well, what is the empirical explanation? We don't have to give you any empirical explanation. In 200 years, when you are gone, you will see that science will be able to explain it, because the beauty of science is that science evolves. But I'm telling you an personal experience that he came to me in my room and told me, if you want to be healed, you have to release me and let me go. And that night in 2020, I said, I release you, Bringer. You can now go. And that was the last time. That was the last time I experienced his presence or I saw him. That was the last time I went to his Facebook page to go and check anything. So this is real. That was part of my healing process. That was part of the things that happened when I was tapping into my childhood to heal myself. See, the best healer is yourself. Your best healer is yourself, not anybody. People can prescribe and say all this, but you are the one. You know where the shoe is pinching you. You are the one that knows where the shoe is pinching you. So when you begin this process, you are going to start getting downloads. There are repressed wounds, repressed and suppressed wounds that you don't know are still there. The verbal abuse, you will never amount to anything. You are a useless girl. You will end up as a prostitute. Those things are there, and they are forming, influencing the results you are seeing in your life. That's what's happening. Me and my brother made a decision this year. We have a cousin who, her mother is late. I'm sharing the story of my family. I know, see, there are no perfect family, but I love my family. And there are people who their story is worse than everything I'm saying. So me and my brother sat down and said, this particular cousin of hers, she has been neglected by everybody, apart from my mother. If we don't want to bring karma on ourselves, we must take the responsibility of taking care of this girl. And we decided, see, you can start paying your karmic debts now. One of the things you can do to heal your child, your inner child, is to, figure out a karmic debt in your family. Maybe it's current karmic debt, past karmic debt, future karmic debt that you need to pay. Right? And then we said every Sunday, we called her and said, every Sunday you are obligated to receive a certain amount of money from us. It is your right. We are not helping you. It is your right to demand. So if you don't get the money by Sunday evening, place a phone call. Because she went through hell. Since she was a child, she went through hell. This is a girl who is the granddaughter of a man that owned real estate in the 70s till now. They are still selling his land till now. But all the uncles and the aunts, they kept selling because her own mother is late. And even her own mother, they were the ones that destroyed her life. She has never benefited from the real estate of her grandfather. Right. So I remember while she was growing up, the kind of words that were said to her. You will never be anything. And guess what? When she was 18, she got pregnant. She became everything they spoke into her life. See, when you see people, don't judge people. There are many people who are products of their environment. I'm not saying that people should not take responsibility for their lives, right? But there are people who are struggling. They want to be free from this, but that is the only programming language. in their consciousness and their subconscious. That is the operating system, that you cannot be anything in life. And they started injecting this in them since they were a child, since they were children. Since they were children. The way your mother was useless, that's how you're going to be useless. Those were the kind of words you grew up with. Those were the words. So there are people in your life. See, I like that statement. Ambassador always says, lift me and I lift thee, and together we ascend. There are people right now, you may have been able to free yourself from some of these, chains, but there are people around you that if you don't help them, they may just remain like that for life. There are people around you right now. I was talking to my driver this morning. I said, there are some things I've noticed in you, and I want to help you because you're not going to drive me forever. And I said, I noticed this. Can you tell me this? Because I know there is a reason why it was recommended to me to drive me. And it did not come to this world to serve somebody forever. Yes. But I notice that if I don't help him, he does not have that capacity, is not there. So there are people who grew up without any structure that will help them get to the point where they say no. So necessity, there are many of us that you are meant to look for these people around you without any judgment, without any ego. There are some of those prostitutes around you that this is all they have known. They started fending for themselves at 9 years old. Imagine a 13-year-old girl. Her father is asking her to send money home. 13 years old girl. Father is asking her to send money home. 13 years old girl. So they're already preparing her for prostitution. So there is nothing in her that tells her that life can be different than that. That's all she has known. There are 14, 15-year-old boys, and they are the ones taking care of their family. So tell me how if they see an opportunity to go and rob or do yahoo, tell me how they will not do it. So as one of the ways to heal is also to help other people heal. To help other people heal. The moment you begin that process, like I said, you're going to start getting downloads, right? You're going to start, a lot of things are going to start popping up from your past. You cannot sweep them under the carpet. Suppressed, repressed wounds, they may not manifest now. You marry first. Then you will discover that these things have been in you because it is in the family circle that those things are magnified. Marriage is the magnifier effect for a lot of these things. Marriage is you are single, right? I am single. So there are many things. You see, someone told me that the first day I had an argument with my wife, I didn't do anything. But after several arguments, I slapped her and I hit her head on the wall. He said, and the moment he did that, he just went into the room and he was just crying. So I said, why were you crying? He said, he never believed in his life that he could put his hand on his wife, that he never believed. Now, that is a reflection of a part of him, of a suppressed and repressed part of him he's not aware of. He said he was shedding tears. Like, how could he have done this? So there are a lot of behaviors, a lot of reflections in your life that are products of the operating system. Wrong, negative, dysfunctional, traumatic programming language that are in you. It is until you are under pressure, that's when you will exhibit those things and you wonder, I have this thing in me. So it's time to go back to your inner child, because that's a place of possibilities. That's a place of endless possibilities and abundance. And as you begin that journey, you must also help lift other people up. Everybody around you, lift them up. Because as you heal and you heal others, what happens is it speeds up the rate of your own healing. That's what happens. It speeds up the rate of your own healing. So 1 hour gone. This is a tip of the iceberg, because see, if you want to manifest effortlessly, you must deal with this, the shadow self. If you want to manifest effortlessly, you cannot manifest when you have not made the unconscious conscious. Because what will be ruling your life is the unconscious, the trauma, the past, your childhood. That is what will be ruling your life, and you think is one spirit or somewhere or that's affecting you. You won't know. You don't know that these are stuff that you can actually deal with. And these are some of the things I'm going to be sharing at the 18 days manifestation marathon. And you can still join. We should have more people join us. I'll drop another video about it tomorrow. Drop another video about it, because see, manifestation is different from the law of attraction. The reason many people are frustrated is because they have gone to watch Secret Law of Attraction, and they think that just by thinking about something or wanting something, you attract it. No, that's not the way it works. Manifestation is the evidence, public display of an inward operational power and purpose. So if the inside is wrong, you can't manifest. The secret law of attraction is exoteric knowledge. It's a mainstream ideology. I hope you know that. Because when you study some of the esoteric dimensions of manifestation, like the Hermetic principles, you understand that the secret is still one of some of these globalization puppeteers that are pushing the idea. But when it comes to manifestation, there must be an inward operational power that is producing the results from the inside. That's it. You are creating, manifestation is conscious creation. That's what it is. You are conscious creation. You're not just sitting down wishy-washy and expecting things to just fall on your laps. No. That's not how you are doing it. You are intentionally curating the life that you want for yourself. And you are watching it. You are watching it like the way the hen brood over her chicks. You are watching your life move from one level of grace to another through your actions. That's what manifestation is. That's what it is. Because one of the things that you see is called the law of wisdom. When you begin your healing process, what happens to you is that you don't just have knowledge and understanding. The universal technique for learning is knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. Then the pyramid again. At the apex of that is wisdom. At the bottom, on the left and on the right, the feminine and masculine energy is the knowledge and understanding. So when those two come together, God the Father, the Sacred Mother, they produce the Son, which is wisdom. Wisdom is action. Wisdom is action. So manifestation is action. That's what it is. So if you are not taking action, you are just depending on the law of attraction, right? I will attract it. No. You are meant to become it. Manifestation is becoming what you desire. You are now vibrating at the same frequency with that thing. So you must have it. You must have it. You must have it. And then it means, how bad do you want it? It is possible for you to still manifest your desires for 2024. I told you in January, in December, I said this is going to be a tough year. Because people were watching a lot of things on social media where they were telling them it's a year of money, right? And that they're going to make a lot of money this year. Yet they have not made any money. And I kept saying it's going to be a year of struggle for a lot of people who are not prepared. But there are things you can do if you are ready. See, remarkable change have requirements. For you to have any remarkable change in your life, there are requirements for it. The law of attraction doesn't give you the requirements. It just says think. There are many people who have. How many of your thoughts have you manifested? If that is the way it is, that just by thinking about something, you just manifest it. No. And one of the ways to do this is through esoteric knowledge. And that's why my aim is to use esoteric knowledge to help people discover their identity, their purpose, and meaning for their lives. Esoteric knowledge. That's what it is. We'll stop there tonight because I said it's for 1 hour. We have almost spent more than 1 hour. So guys, if you want to register for the 18 days manifestation marathon, you can click the link in the bio. Let's end this year with a lot of people. Okay, I'm going to post this today because I don't post. People send me a lot of testimonies every day, but I don't post them. So I think I should post. I didn't tell you. I screen grabbed it. There is a woman. She said she doesn't even listen to me that much. She just comes sometimes. She listens. And then she said in March, when I said that, from March 19th, thereabout, things are going to change. And guess what she said? She sent me a message today and said, there is something she has been pursuing for 10 years. And she just applied one of the techniques that I teach. And she has gotten it. She has gotten it. The reason I don't post these things is because if something is working, people can easily tell and see it. If it's not, they will know that this one is fake. People can easily, because sometimes I'm a very private person, right? So I also extend that to other people. Like, let me not talk about them. Even though I will not mention the person's name, we can, cover their information. Yet, I still feel a bit uneasy, like uncomfortable posting people's story on social media. But maybe I'll post this one. Now, let me quickly say one more thing, because I noticed that you guys still want to be here. So let's still do some 15 minutes, because I tell people these days I'm a teacher. That's it. Because when I tapped back into my childhood, my inner child, I discovered that what I really want to do in my life is to teach. Serious, I'm telling you. That's what I want to do. I'm a teacher. So when people ask me this, what do you do? I'm a teacher. Well, yes. What do you teach? I teach esoteric knowledge. I use esoteric knowledge to help people find meaning and purpose and identity for their life. So I don't get tired doing this. Now, let me quickly say this. This is a tip from the 18 Days Manifestation Marathon. This is why many people are stuck. This is why a lot of people are stuck. Let me tell you. Wanting things to be true just because you are raised with those things or you are sentimental about them does not make them true. I'm going to repeat that. Wanting things to be true just because you were raised with those things, with those ideas, or you are sentimental about them, does not make those things true. It doesn't make them true. Because we are all bound by the law of the universe. Truth was present before we all came here. Truth is present now. Truth will be present when we all leave. So wanting something to be true because you have sentimental attachment to that thing does not make it true. It doesn't make it true. Because natural universal laws are in effect and they don't care about anybody's dogma or doctrine. They don't care. They don't care. But when you hold on to what is not true, that you want to be true, it hinders you from taking action. That's the problem now. And the real wisdom is action. The wisdom is action. So you want it to be true when it comes to universal natural laws. I'm talking about natural laws now. When it comes to natural laws, the truth is the truth. Other things, truth can be subjective, truth can be progressive. But when it comes to natural universal laws, right? The fact that you want it to be true doesn't mean, you will now say, okay, let's just pity her so that she doesn't cry and make it true. No, it doesn't work that way. And then it takes us to something else, consciousness. People hear this word a lot, consciousness. What is consciousness? Because, see, you are reflecting your consciousness right now. That's what you are reflecting. I posted a video today about the inner child, and I noticed a lady's comment. And he said, I want to tap into my inner child, but these bills, no, they let me agree. And she added, laugh, smiley. And I replied, yes, you can. And she wrote something else again. So she was speaking impossibilities disguised as humor, like joke. Yeah. Joke. That is her level of consciousness. So with that alone, it's almost impossible for such a person to tap into their inner child. Because everything is now comedy to a lot of us. And one of the things you can use to actually poison yourself is comedy. Comedy can be educative, can be effective, but it can also be very destructive. Because consciousness is the ability to perceive, to recognize, to interpret patterns and meanings of events taking place within you and in the world. So what are the events? What are the patterns? What are the meanings of the events taking place in your life that you are aware of? Because a lot of us, you don't even know what is happening in your own university, in your own universe. So you don't know what is happening around you in the world. And that's what consciousness is. And to awaken that consciousness, you must go back to your inner child. You must go back to your inner child. You must go back to that formative years. And, to the super hard drive and restore all the data that were deleted, the dreams that were deleted, the passion that were deleted. You must spend time in meditation and mindfulness. You must use the art of meditation and mindfulness to go back into your Akashic record, to tap into the events. You must interpret the meaning of the events, the patterns in your childhood. And then you begin to get downloads on how to go about them. Because your behaviors, they determine your manifested reality. That's what your behaviors determine your manifested reality. So the realities you see in your life, it is your behavior that produces them. And your behavior is a byproduct of the operating system that is in you, according to the power that is at work in you. So what you are producing in your life is according to the power, according to the system, according to the technology that is operational in you. That's what you are saying, whether consciously or unconsciously. That's what you are saying. Men has come, yet you want to marry. So all the men has come. All these girls are Olosho, you can't say any of them to marry. That's your behavior, those words, they become your manifested reality. And that's why every girl you have dated, they cheated on you. All the girls you are seeing, they just want your money because that's your manifested reality. That's your behavior. Those are the words that you are speaking. That's the programming language that exists in you. It has become a culture, the way you talk, the culture of scarcity, poverty, struggle, and misery. And the unpalatable thing about this culture is that it's almost as though it has become a law in some families that it must be transferred as a legacy from one generation to another. That's why you see a grandmother, suggesting somebody to a boy who is just 22 years old, earning 20,000 naira salary as security. And the grandmother is forcing him to come and marry a girl in the village and bring her to Abuja so both of them can be staying in a cubicle room. So you see that now. There is an operating system, and it's as though it must be transferred from one generation to another. That's it. The pattern of abuse, when you pay attention, consciousness is everything. When you pay attention to patterns, events, and you are able to interpret their meanings, even in your own life, you will be shocked. What does this pattern mean? I remember a time in my life, every girl I dated, I asked them some questions and they all said the same thing. And I said, this is a pattern. And what they said was, you are the most loving man I've been with, but you are also the most detached man. He said, you are the most loving man. You are the man that I can call you at 2 a.m. and you enter your car and you come and rescue me. But you are also the man that I don't know if you are with me or you are not with me. You are just detached. So now, that is a pattern. That is a pattern. So I saw that pattern. I read the meaning to that pattern and I traced it back to the dysfunctional upbringing, the abuse, the fear of, let me not be too attached to this person so they don't. Yeah. But then you have so much love in you. I dated a British who is a psychologist. She has a PhD in psychology. And then I remember she told me, she said, you have a lot of love in you, but you don't know how to give it. And that really touched me. You have so much, when I am with you, you have so much love in you, but you don't know how to express it. So a lot of us, you have bottled up virtues and gifts and talents. You want to love your wife with everything in you. But because of your shadow self, because of the upbringing, the wound, the pain, the betrayal by the people, the father, the mother who were meant to love you and introduce you to what trust and honesty is, because they did directly the opposite. Now you cannot show your wife, you cannot attach to your partner because you are afraid. Because the same way you were attached to your parents and they disappointed you, your siblings, your friends, it has become a programming language. So although you are showing so much love, no problem, ambassador. You are showing her so much love, and yet so it's like a mixed feeling. That's what's happening in a lot of marriages now. A lot of people actually want their relationship to work. There is nobody who doesn't want their business to work. But there are people who you are building with one hand, you are destroying it with the other one. You are building, putting in effort in your business, but your behavior is destroying it. Right? So you are fetching water in a basket because of your shadow self, because the foundation, the wound, the pain of yesteryears that you have refused to heal, they are still there. So your behavior is influenced by your cultural programming and operating systems. Your actions are destroying it. That's what's happening. You easily build things. You can start anything, but you are the same person that will destroy it by yourself. Because the programming language is a programming language that does not teach you groundedness. I discovered that in my life. See, I'm giving you all these things so you can go within yourself. Go within yourself and figure out the areas that you need clarity. Clarity. Right? Because for me, business-wise, I've gained clarity in lots of things in my business. Because on a normal day, I started recovering from all the losses in 2021. If it was before, by now, I probably would have had another problem. Because it's always 2 years, things are great. Then after 2 years, everything collapses again. But I have dealt with that. Relationship, I am dealing with that. If I am with a woman, I should give her myself. Because that's a pattern. All these alpha male wannabes you are seeing out there, it is a wound in them. It is a wound. They are running from something. They are running from their own shadow. They have been fed with fear and people telling them, suspect her. I watch videos on social media many times and I see elderly men telling boys how to treat their wives, and I just look at this man. I'm like, let me not criticize this man. He is wounded. There is a wound in him. There's a wound in him that he can't deal with. So now, rather than humble himself and go deep down to heal that wound, he is spreading that negativity to the younger generation of men and telling them, a woman cannot love you. That's what he's telling them. A woman can never love you. Don't trust your wife. Those statements are statements from the place of injury. He has been shattered and battered, and his ego won't let him go deep within to heal himself. That's what's going on. There are people who execute great ideas. Great ideas. They build a team and they use their own hand to destroy that team. Because your behavior is influenced by your cultural programming or your operating system. That's the system that is working in you. That's the system. Life is lived from inside out. It is lived from the inside out. So you shouldn't be building with one hand. See, the proper way to live your life is to build with one hand and to battle with the other. Not to build with one hand and to destroy what you are building with the other hand. With your behaviors. It is your behavior. And that's it. That's why, honestly, I will forever be grateful that I made that video about sexual intercourse. I can't count the number of men that have called me and told me I cried. So you see that people actually want their marriage to work. Honestly, people actually want their marriage to work. Deep down, it is their shadow self, their imposter self, that is hindering them from putting in the work. Thank you, to Alade. That is hindering them from putting in the necessary requirements to make their marriage. I can't count the number of married men who have called me and told me, I cried when I watched your video. And I told myself, this is the end of cheating on my wife. I can't count, I'm telling you. And I heard that, and many times when I hear it, I just tears just drop from my eyes. Like, so contrary to what society is making people, all this trending, half-baked relationship, charlatans, people actually want their marriage to work. They want their marriage to work. It is the shadow self. It is the imposter that is hindering them from putting in the necessary effort and the requirement to make that marriage work. Let's have Ambassador for like 10 minutes and then we can close. Because one of the reasons I bring Ambassador up is because he proves, because sometimes I think that I am mad, that maybe I am, why should I be living like like this. So he proves to me that you are not mad. There are other people like you. Ambassador, go ahead, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Femi.
Thank you.
You know, for a very, very long time, I've been looking for you. you know, People made it look like I I am too erratic because my standard of friendship was too high.
Mm.
It was just too high, and I just couldn't find anybody who could be in alignment with that standard. And I would give people benefit of the doubt, and eventually I'll not be able to cope. You know,
Mm.
and then we met in 2020, 2022, and it's been made in heaven ever since.
Mm.
And
Mm.
I really, really, really want to thank you for giving yourself the space to be an alchemist of your life. To be to be to grow in the public domain, because that's what you have done, and that's what I've done as well, right? To not be ashamed to be vulnerable in the public domain, and I mean, you are my first best friend. I've never had a best friend. I'll be 40 next year. And because right from when I was a very young lad, I've known, we are old souls. You're an old soul. I'm an old soul.
Mm.
I've just known the kind of person I want to roll with, and for years I couldn't find such a man. I'm sorry, all the people that we went to school together. I'm sorry if you feel hot, but it is what it is. I mean, most of those people called me erratic, called me irrational, called me mad because of those ideas. I really, really want to especially thank you for, despite the fact that when you made a transition from 2022 into 2023, a lot of people just left you more or less because they wanted you to continue in that line. And I'm really, really grateful for the audacity to continue in this path. And you've really, really empowered a lot of people. You've liberated a lot of people, and I really look forward to the future, what the future holds, as far as the spread of the philosophy that you are trying to, which are ageless philosophy, ancestrally inherited philosophies. So it's not like maybe you coined those philosophies. You
Exactly.
just did your digging, and you discovered timeless, ageless philosophies. And you are not somebody who is trying to introduce any religion to anybody. You're just trying to introduce people to themselves, and that's exactly who I am, right? And I want to just quickly touch on the mediocre manhood aspect. I did a research in 2020 during COVID, because a lot of people were at home, so it gave me the opportunity to do that research, and I realized that the majority of the reasons behind the dysfunctionality of most ladies is because of men. The boys who have become men today, who are inflicting those injuries on those ladies, were raised by mediocre men, mediocre manhood, mediocre masculinity. Now, some of these women who are behaving or misbehaving the way they misbehave, it was the roots of that misbehavior was laid by younger men that were not initiated into manhood. You see the ricochet effect. Now, I said one day I called you and I told you that, are you aware that up to 90% of men, 90% of men in our society, you cannot leave your girl with them. You cannot leave your teenage girl, your teenage daughter with them. Up to 90%. You can't say that I want to travel out for the next 3 months. I want my daughter to come and be with you for 3 months. Something will happen. Go and look at, I did this research. Go on, out of every 10 ladies, up to 7 of them had some kind of sexual molestation. Either as a child before they clocked 10, or whilst they were teenagers, early days of their teenage years. But a lot actually happens before they clock 10. And who are these offenders? Who are these offenders? Men. These abusers. Men. Men in their 30s, in their late 20s, in their 40s even. And it is really, really a menace, my brother. It is a menace where you have grown-up men who are not in control of their testosterone, who are not in control of their penis. That if they are just alone with an innocent girl, the only thing that is bound to happen is that they are going to be puppets of their testosterone. Because they were not initiated into manhood. There was no actual ritual of manhood initiation for most of these guys. Most of them were grown in churches, grown in mosques. So there was the ancestral manhood initiation that we have had for entire millennia in Africa was never introduced to them. Mr. Femi, I'm sure your dad did not introduce this thing to you.
No. No.
And I can tell you that my dad did not introduce it to me. We because of our own curiosity and our insatiable appetite for ancestral investigation and examination, we were able to stumble upon these themes. Mr. Femi was saying the other day that he can leave his daughter with me. And there will not be anything, nothing will happen. Because there has been initiation into manhood. One of the major causes of the decadence of society is we have too many men who are not men actually. They're just overgrown boys who have never been initiated into manhood. Manhood, traditionally, manhood initiation begins from 12 and a half years old. 12 and a half years old, that is when manhood initiation begins. But you find 37-year-old men, 28-year-old guys who have never been intentionally initiated into manhood. Rape is a man's problem. It is not a woman's problem. It's not whether a lady is half nude. She should not be the justification for you wanting to rape a girl. Back in the day, our women, our ladies used to be almost half naked in the villages in Africa, and there was no such thing as rape. It's because most of them have never been initiated into manhood. And there is serious work for us to do. You know the things that we did in the Brothers Lifting Brothers that we have to suspend some things to see the decadence of masculinity, the mediocrity of masculinity. But there's a lot of work to do, and we are not afraid. We are not afraid of the work that is ahead of us. Thank you so much, Mr. Femi, for all you do. Thank you
so much, Ambassador.
I really, really appreciate you.
Thank you so much. You are a blessing, Ambassador. You are a blessing to me, and you are a blessing to Africa as a whole. Guys, go follow Ambassador right now. Someone like Ambassador should have. He doesn't like talking about followers, but someone like Ambassador should have more than the followers he has. You need to listen to him, watch his videos, and then understand his wealth of wisdom and understanding. So guys, go follow Ambassador. So we're going to close there tonight. Thank you for joining the session. If you want to register for the manifestation marathon, you can still do that. We're going to open more slot, right? For people. I'll make a video about it tomorrow, and then we'll post another video about it tomorrow. Thank you so much, guys, for joining the session, and have a great, great night. Thank you so much. Thank you.